Smooth transition into the midday. Be sure to tune to The Shift Monday to Friday at 12:30 p.m. with Joinae Gibson on Glory 93.9 FM. The freshest wave of glory to hit the Bahamas.
It's an amazing day here at Glory 93.9 FM. Now, listen, I'm so excited for today's conversation. Whether you're tuned in via Glory 93.9, listening to the radio, on Facebook, YouTube, and of course, my faithful TikTok watchers. Hey, Latoya, how you doing? I'm so excited to be in your company today. And I want to say welcome back to The Shift. Yesterday, we began a conversation that really sparked some thoughts, right? We started to talk about what it means to think outside the box, right? We went through so many things, and I'm going to reiterate before we move further into today's topic, but I want to say that this is part 2. So if you know anyone that's in need of a shift, I want you to tag them in the comment section. I want you to share this live broadcast, and I want you to let them know that we are locked and always loaded. We are ready for today's conversation. Hey, Shantika. Hey, Patience. Patience say, good afternoon. You have to add like a bunch of S and say, shifters. You have to make it long. Hey, Tika. I hope you're having a great day. We explored yesterday, challenging those self-limiting beliefs, our self-concept. We, did so many, and I started to sit down and I thought about this, and I say, something, these shifters, like oh man, I love you all so much, and I promise you, every day, Monday through Friday, I'm so excited for, there you go, Patience, you got it, there you go, yes, you are officially a shifter now. Yes. But I'm so excited to have this conversation. Of course, before I move any further, the call and text lines, they're open. They're in the caption on your screen and in the comments section. Today, the call line is 242-827-2543 and the text line is 242-817-2544. Now, I don't really know what's going on with my voice today. I feel like I sound a little nasally, but I'm giving God the glory. I'm giving God the glory anyhow. My producer is like shaking his head at me, and I don't really feel like being judged today. I don't know. Is it just me? I don't want to be judged today or tomorrow or the day after. But let's move. So yesterday, we talked about, wow, y'all need to see what he's doing. Wow. Something? Shifters, let's go. Yesterday, we talked about, the identity change, and, it's the process of becoming who God has ordained or called you to be. Right? We talked about, the self-concept, like I mentioned earlier. We talked about, identity producing behavior and how most people try to change their habits before changing their identity. And we see all through scripture where, before God ever shifted someone, he shifted the way they think, he shifted their perspective before even giving them a new name. We see it where Jacob becomes Israel. What is it called? In the place called Peniel, where he wrestled with the angel or wrestled with God. Secondly, yesterday we spoke about, you don't live from your future until you see yourself there. Hey, Miss Bodie, how are you? All right. Then we talked about your life moving in the direction of your self-image. And I'm just going quickly through these so that we can get into today's part. And then we talked about your mind having an internal thermostat. Oh, that was so good. Oh man, that sit with me, right? And then we talked about identity, answering 3 questions. Who am I? Whose am I? And why am I here? We also talked about how, God never calls you according to your limitation. We didn't get to this part, and this is what I want to start today's topic, or part of today's topic with, and it is this: identity requires evidence. You don't just pick up and say you are different. Your habits start to speak for you. Your your calendar reveals your priorities, and honestly, that's for me, right? Your spending reveals what you value. Your conversations, and this is what I feel that many are guilty of, your conversations reveal your thinking. The kind of conversations that you entertain, the kind of conversations that you hold reveal how you think, not only how you think in general, but how you think about yourself. Transformation doesn't happen from the outside in, it happens from the inside out. And I believe that, as a result of this topic, I believe that God is trying to, or doing that work on the inside of us that we can then see on the external. We focus on the makeup, we focus on the hair, we focus on the car, we focus on the house, we focus on the, the things that can be taken away, the temporal things. But I want you to think on eternal things. I want to ask you this question, or really a series of questions. Who told you who you are? I'll wait. Who told you who you are? Is your identity, and I have to start here, is your identity based on your past, based on your trauma, or based on what God promised? What labels, and see, I told you a series of questions. What labels have you accepted that God never gave you? See, when you are someone that is extraordinary, when you are someone, filled with purpose, and, it can be seen in some cases, there are many labels that people will try to put on you. Oh, she's not humble. Oh, she is this. Oh, she is mean. Oh, she is that. Oh, she isn't friendly. And there are labels, or she will be a drug addict. She will give up halfway like her mommy, like her daddy. And we take on these labels that God never gave us. We take on labels from wounds. Are you living from your calling or only reacting to your wounds? What version of yourself, and this is my last question, and I'm going to move. What version of yourself are you protecting because it's familiar? See, you don't want to let go of that attitude. You don't want to let go of that way of thinking. You don't want to let go of that self-concept. You don't want to let go of those self-limiting beliefs because it is familiar. It is the evil that you know. You know how people talk about, they say, something, this is the lesser of both evils. No. Why we even choosing evil? Identity is the root and your behavior is the fruit. You know something? I know I talking, I feel like a rapper and all right now, right? You'll never consistently live, and this is so hard. You'll never consistently live above the person you believe yourself to be. So whatever you believe about you. All right. Like I mentioned this scripture yesterday about do not be conformed to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. It brings me back to my first point. Forget the box. And I started this yesterday, but I want to go a little further. Forget the box. People often say, and you can look at the graphics for, today's show and think outside the box. We get it. But people often say, think outside the box, but sometimes God is trying to say something else to us. The box represents those limitations, the boundaries that you have placed on yourself, the things that you think about yourself. You immediately start to and I talked about this yesterday, you immediately start to list reasons why something can't happen. Point number 2, and because I don't want to stay there too long. Point number 2, break the rules. Now, I know this is going to be little, but break rules. And I'm not talking about, breaking laws, right? But I'm talking about breaking the rules, right? Not laws, not breaking civil laws, but breaking the invisible barriers that you have accepted without questioning them. You think, I'm too old, I'm too young, no one in my family has ever done this, I need money before I can start. Success only comes by doing this particular thing, by being with these particular people. And many of these things aren't facts. They're just limitations. They're inherited beliefs. And even as we continue, in this subject, I want to introduce a new concept. And I want to say a mindset, really. Because in order to move forward, in order to start to forget the box, there is a concept called pay them dust. Now, I read this in a book, but I started to do more research on it. Pay them dust, and I have a definition for you. Pay them dust is a modern expression that means to deliberately ignore someone or something that does not deserve your time, energy, attention, or emotional investment. It means refusing to engage with negativity. Hey, Bianca. Hey, Mr. Marley. I'm refusing to engage with negativity, distractions, unnecessary criticism, or people who are trying to pull me off course. See, I want to stick a pin right there. Why? Because many of us, whether we like to address it or not, we cannot get outside the box, forget the box, think outside the box, however you want to term it. We cannot do that because we are still distracted. I want to say distracted. We are still focusing on unnecessary criticism. Oh, they say I'm not slim enough. They say I'm too skinny. They say I'm too bright. They say I'm too pretty. They say I'm too ugly. They say I'm not intelligent enough. They say I don't sound like this. They say I don't talk like that. They say I don't have the clothes. I don't have the hair. I don't have the look. I don't have the aesthetic. And you focus on all of these things. As a matter of fact, let's take it a step further. You start to look at what someone else is doing. And you say, oh, well, I see, and she was able to go, and I don't even know how. And you become a hater, just like that. Battling jealousy. Why? Because of distraction. When you pay someone dust, and man, listen, I sat down and I thought about this. When you pay someone dust, what you are saying is, I am choosing to intentionally disengage. See, we like to say things like, the smoke is free. What you for, I five, guilty, right? Smoke is free. What you for, I five, and we go through all of these things, but it isn't, paying them dust isn't about being rude or being arrogant, It's about protecting your focus. And if you are honest, and let's pause right here. If you are honest, you have become distracted. You allowed, hey Ashley, you allowed what they said about you, how they feel about you, the sabotage going on, behind the scenes that you shouldn't have known about, but you know about. You allow all of these things. You know something? You are hesitating to post. You are hesitating to even post on your status. You are hey Latonya. Oh, how you doing, honey? Right? You are afraid to change the way you look because you say, something, I don't want them to feel like I feel like. No. You have to protect your focus. Why? Because there is something on the inside of you. Many of you listening, something locked deep on the inside of you that you refuse to unlock because you've become distracted by negativity. Hey, Shanda, you've become so distracted. Unnecessary criticism. People who are trying to pull you off course. Latonya says, listen, you guess, protect that focus. Patience says, heavy on refusing to engage with negativity. And you know, it's thank you. It's tricky because sometimes the distractions are so covert that you could almost miss it. You don't know you're distracted until it's like, I want to say like until you're distracted. I don't know if that makes sense, but you don't know until you realize, oh man, I really shouldn't have engaged. I really shouldn't have responded that way. Thinking outside the box requires selective attention. Yes, I love you, but I cannot give you that attention. Yes, I respect you, but I cannot give you that attention, because if I give you that attention and I focus on what you're trying to project on me, you know something? I don't think that, and maybe this could be a little naive, right? But let's go with it for a minute. I don't think sometimes people's intention is to distract you. That's one part. And then I think there are sometimes when they are deliberately distracting you. But I'm talking about the other one now. I think they become a distraction to you based on their limitations. So let's say, you know, you want to do a particular thing. You want to start this business. You want to write this book. You want to release this song. But based on their past limitations, they start to spew that negativity or project that negativity onto you, not deliberately saying, okay, well, you can't do it. But when they put themselves in your shoe, they can't see how they would do it, which is why they become a distraction. I hope I said that good. But, you know, it's tricky because you have to discern when someone, and this can come from family members, this can come from leaders, this can come from friends, this can come from spouses, because they can't think outside themselves. And what they really lack is foresight. So they think in their mind, okay, I was unable to do this at a certain age. I was only able to get my house at the age of 55, and there's nothing wrong with that. But that's not my portion. That's not what I am accepting. That's not what I'm willing to go through. Patience, you are so right. Patience says, you have to know, I remixed what you said, but you got to know what to take on and what to leave to God, honestly. And Patience also says, this is why it's so important to be around like-minded people, not people who are restricted in their thinking. Agreed. But here's the thing, Patience. You don't know that they are restricted in their thinking until you level up. See, we can agree. The Bible talks about how can two walk except they agree. We can agree at the age of 20. We can agree at 25. But when I get to 30, when I get to 35, when I decide to level up, then your limited thinking is exposed. See, it's not only about just being with like-minded people, but to be with people who are able to, and I describe it as bend. They're able to pivot. They're able to evolve with every part of your life. I have a friend, and you know, we always talking, and she was telling me about how she was applying for, you know, this job. And a family member was like, oh, child, you know how things go in the Bahamas. You got to know this one, got to know that one. And she just started, I tried to do the same thing before and they denied me. And I tried to do this before and they told me that I couldn't do. And they told me that, and I was just same age and they didn't let me. And she went on with all of these things. And my friend said, she said, you know, Joinae, just by listening to her, she made me afraid. I did not want to apply anymore. But then she said, when I realized your life is not my life, your journey is not my journey, I have to pay you dust. I can't focus on what, you're right, Shonda, projecting their fear on you. I cannot focus on your limitation and call it mine. I cannot focus on what you were unable to do and call it mine. And this is a part of thinking outside of the box, forgetting the box. Because I saw the sign, and I don't know, for those who live in Nassau, I saw the sign on the car says no limits. When I say to myself that I'm going to think out of the box, I've already placed a limit on me. When I say something like, the sky is the limit. No, beyond the sky. Because I've already placed a limit based on how far I can see. And this is why, and I'm going to get into that in a few, but this is why having foresight is so pivotal in this season of your life. Not every opinion deserves your attention. And this is something that I learned the hard way. I won't even lie. I learned I wanted to please everybody. I wanted everybody to be okay. I wanted everyone to understand. I wanted to be palatable. I wanted to be palatable. I wanted everyone not to be offended. I wanted everyone to be comfortable. And in order to make everyone comfortable, it means that I must now sacrifice myself and the work that God is doing in me. Shonda, clock it. People pleasing, that's exactly what it was. So I had to learn every opinion does not deserve your attention. Every lie isn't worth being addressed. Every response, you know what it does? It costs you emotional energy. And, I watched this video and this young lady, she was talking about, if you're trying to scale your business. Shantika says, it's okay to agree, but I can't relate. Rich says, so true. Hey, how you doing? Shonda says, let them be wrong about you. No. Prove the doubt is wrong. No, like God really has to prove them wrong. And it's not up to me to do that. But I watched this video and this young lady was talking about how she was trying to scale her business, to make it $1 million business and etc. And, she started to give advice and she was like, listen, don't be in a relationship and trying to do all these things, trying to date and trying to do all these things and trying to evolve. It doesn't work together. Now, hey, Vano, how you doing, baby? Right? This is the point that she was making. She said she was trying to build her business and date at the same time. This is just her story, right? And she said she's a creative. So anytime that she would, get into, a row with her boyfriend or, something, or he didn't do something according to the plans, it would throw her off and it would throw her creativity off. And I say all that to say, there are some people in your life that are throwing off your creativity. Y'all don't have to say nothing. Just let me talk. Don't say nothing. Just, There are some people in your life that when you get around them, your judgment is clouded. Your creativity is limited. You cannot think beyond what you see. You cannot see beyond what you see. You cannot look, and it sounds funny, but you cannot look into the future, or you cannot dream. And it's a dangerous environment to be in, because what it does is it slowly kills the dream on the inside of you. And I'm not saying don't date or don't have a spouse, or that's not my point. But I'm saying there are some work environments, there are some church environments, there are some friendship environments, there are some business environments that don't allow you to evolve, that don't allow you to grow. And sometimes what it takes for you is a change in scenery. What it takes for you is a change in your outlook, in your perspective to cause you to shift. But you cannot do that if you're still in the box. As a matter of fact, you are the box. You are the limitation for you. You are the thing that is blocking you from getting to the next level. See, we don't like to think about ourselves or view ourselves as our own limitations. We don't like to see that. We don't like to accept that. Chandler says, you are the weapon formed against yourself. Dr. Lewis says, it's about alignment. Agreed. It's about alignment. And I cannot stay aligned or be aligned with the will of God, with the plan that God has for my life, if I'm giving everything, everyone attention. If I'm allowing them to project their belief systems onto me. Has someone ever told you something so much about yourself that you start to believe it? Let's say someone just says, you know something, you full of confusion. Every time they see you, you're full of confusion. You're full of confusion. You're full of confusion. And for the first 5 times, you didn't believe them, But by the 6th, 7th time, it's like, wait, I must see full of, you start to believe the projections. You start to believe. You don't have to defend what God has already defined. And to be honest, some of you are defending because you haven't heard God define you. You want to hear from everyone else. You want to read it everywhere else. You want to scroll on TikTok. You want to watch the shift to just let Joinae define you. No, that's not up to me. When God defines you, you don't have to worry about anything or anyone else. This is a serious thing. Every distraction delays your destination. Anytime you decide not to pay someone dust, you hinder, you delay. Shantika says, they don't know the power they were born with. No, really, sometimes we don't. Here's what I want to share with you. When you are thinking outside the box, you don't let someone who is living inside the box dictate how far, how much, and what you should do. Miss, ma'am, sir, you are still in a box. How can you tell me trying to get outside the box, outside of my limitations, my self-limiting beliefs, tell me, oh, you know something? Dr. Lewis says, I'm going to use that today. You don't have to defend what God has defined. No, you don't. You are still in the box, Miss, Mom, Sir, Doctor. What else? What else? What else? What else title? What other title? The arch of all arch. You are still the box. You are in the box. I want you to think. Someone in a box dictating your life outside of it. You have to break the rules. And I'm not talking about being out of order. I'm not talking about being rebellious. I'm not talking about being outside the will of God. But what I am saying is move beyond what you have been limited by. We don't break the rules. You know why? Because we like certainty. We like stability. We like predictability because it feels safe. We don't break the rules. Let me tell you why. We don't break the rules and can move beyond our limitations. You know why? Because we don't like failure. We don't listen. We don't want to look bad. That's the word. We don't like to be uncomfortable. We don't like to be talked about. We don't like to be misunderstood. And we would rather play it safe, fly under the radar instead of above the clouds. Playing it safe is you just saying, you know something, God, I'm not going to do anything with this calling that you have placed on the inside of me. You avoid risk, not because God said no, but because you're fair. Say, listen, hey, take it down a notch. Hello, who do you think you are? What do you think you do? Do you remember what you just came out of? Do you remember that? And you know the enemy is crafty. Do you remember that sin you were just in? You remember that baby you had at a wedlock? You remember that divorce? You remember? You remember that? Shantika says, whose voices are we listening to? You can spend, listen, years protecting yourself from failure and killing your destiny. She say, Lord, my internet fighting up against me. Listen, you gotta tell the internet no weapon. Tell them light up. So there is this video. It's always a video, right? There is this video that I saw, and this young lady, she was talking about, she moved to a different state, country, temporarily without her children. And she did it because she had to, gain some stability. But, everyone couldn't go along. And she said everyone called her crazy. Everyone said that she was a horrible mother. She was selfish. She made the wrong decision, And I feel like this is the difficulty with being outside the box and forgetting the box, is that when you have no evidence of what you can be, you just have a feeling, you just have that inclination, like, I'm going to be and I need to shift. And there is no evidence around you. And every action that you do or every decision that you make looks so stupid. Yes, I said stupid. You look silly. You look big and dumb. Like the old people say, you look big and dumb. Big and dumb at that grown age you should have had. You should have had more structure than this. And you're right, Shonda. There's no blueprint to this shift. You become that blueprint. And the issue with being the blueprint is that the blueprint has so much scrutiny. Being the first to ever accomplish something. I watched this video again. I don't know. I love videos, Muncie, right? And this is about Snoop Dogg, and he was talking about, his team of advisors was telling him not to collab with Skechers. He said, Jordan have Nike, and, he's at the top of his game. He's not moving. And he didn't want to compete with Jordan. He just wanted his own lane. And that's many of you listening today, that you don't want to compete with someone. I don't want to be better than who I see on the top. I just want my own lane. And he said, the people around him were convincing him not to collab with Skechers. Like, Skechers, Snoop Dogg, you don't see it. You don't see it. And he said his friend Martha Stewart advised him. He said, listen, Skechers is everywhere. It is the household brand. You have every generation wearing Skechers. You have the baby, the mummy, the daddy. the person cooking, the person cleaning, everyone, they're wearing Skechers. And he said that was the best decision of his life. What am I saying? Maybe to think out, and this is not for everyone, but maybe to think outside that box, maybe to get out of that box, maybe to forget that box is to collab. And collab in an unconventional way, because you wouldn't equate Snoop Dogg with Skechers. That's just for those who get it. So this young lady, she had this vision of what she wanted her life to be like. She had this vision of, you know, how she wanted her family to live, how she wanted her children to live. But other persons, you know, saw it as abandonment. Other persons saw it as, you know, she is being selfish. And this is where, you know, that mediocre thinking comes in. Mediocrity is settling for average when you were created for excellence. You have accepted being mediocre because everyone around you is lower than mediocre. It's all right. It's not about talent. It's not about gifting. It's not about your ability. But it's about accepting less than your potential, because excellence requires too much consistency. It requires too much intentional effort. You know, and in some cases, being mediocre or mediocrity can be twisted as spiritual. And you know what it sounds like? It sounds like, I'm just waiting on God. I'm just waiting on my time. I'm just waiting on my place. But what you're really doing is hiding. What you're really afraid of is being seen and being judged. What you're really afraid of is you don't want people to think that you're all that, but you are the birthday. You are that girl. You are that guy. Hi, hello. You're really hiding. You're really hiding, and you're really afraid. And that's okay, you know. It's okay to be afraid because it is scary. But don't allow that fear to keep you locked in. I'm going to help you. How to leave this mediocre level. One, you have to be inspired. If that means that you need to change your environment, change it. If that means that you need to read more books, you need to travel, you need to learn, you need to listen, you need to observe people doing what you dream about, do that. Exposure, and this is something that this is both my producer and Pastor Oslin Jadart spoke about on numerous occasions, but exposure expands expectation. When you are exposed to new ways of living, new levels, your expectation for what is possible increases. So I don't just say that I want to forget the box, but I have to observe. I have to read or learn or travel, listen to someone who has gotten to that level. And it doesn't mean that they don't have fear. It just means that there are some things that I need to learn. So once I'm exposed, my expectation expands. My anticipation expands. I become more hopeful. I become more inspired. Why? Because I see someone. It's like having caviar for the first time. When you are exposed to a level, and I want you to think about this in every area of your life. This is spiritual. This is natural. In your home. Hey, Antonia. How you doing, baby? Tika says the vision is refined. You start everything. Listen, when you have exposure, it's like everything has color. Like the colors are more, brighter and everything is more defined. Y'all ever watch the movie Limitless? And he takes a pill and then everything just seems bright and everything just seems more clear. Yeah. Exposure. And I'm not, see, exposure doesn't only come from traveling. It doesn't only come from shifting your environment. You can read, you can learn, you can watch videos, you can listen to podcasts. Second point, shift your perspective. Now, I did a show on this and I'm probably going to go back at it at some point. Two people, and I want you to hear me good, two people can experience the same storm, the same tragedy, the same difficulty, the same divorce, the same betrayal, the same rejection, the same abandonment, but one sees punishment. The other sees preparation. Could I tell you, all of what you view as difficult, all of what you view as unnecessary, and that painful relationship within your family, or that painful relationship with your friend, and it can apply to any area of your life. Whatever you see as difficult, I invite you to shift your perspective and see it as preparation. There are some things that I have went through that I now understand why. It has made my skin a little thicker. And I felt that in the moment it was cruel. I felt in a moment like it was unnecessary. I felt like, I was being pressed and stretched, and, it was hard. It was ugly. I wanted to quit. But when I realized that my expectation, because of my exposure, see, all of what you are experiencing, the good, bad, the ugly, the sad, the crying, the disappointments, the expectation of the people that you feel, should have your back, should be with you all along the way, the friends that you have to lose, the relationships that you had to grieve. Oh man. It's preparation. It's preparation, and it's making your skin just a little bit thicker, not thicker to become bitter or callous or cold and unforgiving, but thicker to withstand the pressure of your next level. If you can't master people's projections, people's negativity, them calling you everything but a child of God, if you can't handle 5 people, how can you handle 20? How can you handle 100? How can you handle thousands? Perspective determines possibility. What if, and these are questions that you have to ask yourself. What if this isn't happening to me? What if this is happening for me? Oh, actually, okay, I know what you mean. I'm not quite sure though, but I get it. I get it. What if this is not happening to me? The rejection, the abandonment, the hurt, the pain, the betrayal, the isolation, the friend, the spouse, the leader, the co-worker, the boss, the environment, the organization. Y'all know, the cousin, the auntie, the uncle. What if this isn't happening to me? It's happening for me. Point number 3. Change your environment. Now, wait. I know I said a lot about environment a moment ago, but I want you to hear me. Change your environment. There are some instances that you cannot avoid the people that bring you pain or have brought you pain or have caused some trauma in your life. Changing the environment in that case looks like changing your perspective, and it looks like paying them dust. Your environment, Shantika says, they are part of the process. No, they are. Changing your environment shapes your expectation. Could I tell you that you can create your own environment? I traveled, and I just began to walking through the airport. I just began to observe. Airports can be so chaotic. Everyone is just trying to get to their gate. Everyone is just trying to lug their bags along, or they have children, or you have girl groups just happy to be there, and you have guys standing up. It's pretty chaotic for the busy airports that is. But there's always that one person at their gate, ahead of time or on time, settled, reading a book and not allowing that chaotic environment to bring chaos within them. I talked about this yesterday, and it really stuck with me. And my friend was talking about, how this person called her infectious, her aura, her smile, her everything about her personality was infectious. And we did the comparison that while we should be infectious and we should be influencing others, we are now being influenced and have become infected. And when you observe that one person, and I want you to pay attention to it, there's always a random person that has a book in their hand or headphones on, right? And they created their own environment in the middle of chaos. There are some situations, there are some places and spaces that we cannot avoid. So I'm not just telling you, cold turkey, everybody. What I'm saying is create your own environment within that environment. If your environment only celebrates survival instead of excellence, create your own environment. You will start to dream bigger. You will start to see further. And this is what I wanted to get to earlier. It's about having foresight. Foresight is the ability to see beyond today and prepare for tomorrow, before tomorrow. I'll say it again. Foresight is the ability to see beyond today. I have to see futuristically, see beyond today, and prepare before tomorrow. Prepare for something before it arrives. So when we have foresight or when we have vision, it speaks to seeing the endless possibilities. Intrusive thoughts, right? Foresight, what it does, it prepares you and it causes you to not respond from your emotions. Most people lack foresight. Case in point, Jesus on the cross. Had they known who he was, they would not have crucified him. Hi, hello, foresight. You can't see beyond today. You can't see beyond the room that you are in. You can't see beyond this live broadcast. You can't see beyond it. And you make emotional decisions instead of strategic ones. You are not strategic. You're not methodical. You're not planning. You don't think it deserves all of that, but your life is being stuffed out. You are being sabotaged left, right, and center, and you don't think you need strategy? You don't think you need foresight. Okay. You start to focus on immediate comfort, temporary comfort. Hey, Miss Amy. Instead of long-term impact. I know I'm talking to you. Yes, I'm talking to you. You are reacting to life instead of preparing for it. Without foresight, without that preparation, without that planning, everything becomes urgent. Everything becomes rushy because you don't plan. Preparation becomes your advantage. And there are people that, like to say, oh, I don't, especially, spiritual people, oh, I don't like to plan because the Lord talks about, a man has plans in his heart, but the Lord, no, we trying to use scripture to cover it up. You refuse to prepare. You feel like having a plan is putting God in a box. No. Having a plan says, God, listen, I am so grateful for what you have given me that I'm going to steward it well. But I am open enough. Hey, Sermon, I am open enough that if you decide to change this plan, I'm with it as well. But that's better than me going in at the seat of my pants, just want to do what I want to do, how I want to do it. It's sort of like that worship leader that says, I'm musicians just musicians just flow with me. I don't really know which direction we're going to go in today. What? And don't get me wrong, I'm all for, the spontaneous. Yes. But that's like the preacher getting up. Oh, I could not prepare a sermon because I believe the Lord just wants me to flow. Yes, I believe I'm with you. But you mean to tell me this infinite God ran out of things to tell you to prepare? I don't know. Maybe it's me overthinking it. And I'm not saying, prepare just to be confined. But I'm saying prepare to let you know, God, I love and I respect and I honor what you have placed on the inside of me so much that I need to prepare. Not having all my ducks in a row or feeling like I'm perfect, but to show you, okay, case in point, females, you go on a date with a guy. Imagine he picks you up and he just starts to ride around, let's say Nassau, ride around Nassau. Oh, I don't really know where I wanted to take you. I just say, wherever we end up, it's where we end up. And then say, oh, I just wanted to keep it spontaneous. What will you think? You will think, well, you don't care about me. You didn't care enough to prepare. You didn't care enough to, methodically plan to book a reservation. How do I know? Think about this. As a woman, how do I know how to dress? What if we're going to, a suit and tie kind of restaurant? But no, you want to take me to McDonald's. Anonymous text to say, I can't sit on now. I can't even. Gotta be crazy. It said these ninjas have to be crazy. She says that's how you separate the sheep from the goat. Because what do you mean you don't know? You taking me on a date and you don't know where you will go? You want me to tell you what I like to eat when I get in the car? No, your head can't be good. Because what, and you know how we go. What on me says you shouldn't be prepared? Do I have conch on my forehead? Drop me? As a matter of fact, don't drop me home. You know how we go. We like to call our friend, hey, pick me up, please. Don't drop me back home. Please, don't drop me. Just let me go. Let me go right here. Thanks. But that's what it looks like when we fail to prepare. We want to go in with no strategy, no business plan. And we just say we go in, I just say I have an emergency. And we always have that friend on speed dial. Hey, if you see me, say call me and just make up something. And then I have to go, oh yes, trust me, we are actress. Yes. Patience says, Patience will make me scream. Patience says, what tablet say? Leave me here alone. Leave me there alone. Y'all have to stop. Patience says, no, but for real, you okay though? No, really, Haitian Javier, really, you can imagine, big grown woman like me, you pick me up and don't know where you taking me? No reservation, no plan. That's how we look when we fail to prepare. All of this, what you say you want to experience in your life, you have to prepare for. And I'm not only talking about external preparation, because you can look the part and the moment you open up your mouth, we can tell you don't really belong here. Ouch. Read a book. Work on your articulation. Work on your enunciation. Work on expanding your vocabulary. Because it makes no sense. You look like you belong there and you sound like you should be with the chickens. You go in every room that God has ordained for you, set you up in, to trauma dump. You lead with, oh, they did this to me. You lead with, oh, my mommy, my daddy. Every significant shift in your life, and we're going to listen, and I'm still nowhere near, but every significant shift in your life costs something. You may have to sacrifice some sleep, sacrifice some food, sacrifice some friends, sacrifice some flesh. Sacrifice that comfort, that convenience, that immediate gratification. Sacrifice those old habits. Oh, yes, I'm going there. Sacrifice those familiar environments. Sacrifice people judging you. Hey, Jillian. Sacrifice people judging you who don't know your assignment. See, see, everybody wants to think out of the box and tell what is required to forget the box comes into play. Luke 9:23. Whosoever wants to be my disciple must first deny themselves and take up their cross daily and follow me. Prerequisite. Well, if you want to be a disciple, boom, you want to shift. First, deny yourself. Then, when you deny yourself, pick up the weight, pick up the cross, pick up the rejection, pick it up daily, not only picking it up on Monday or picking it up on Sunday or picking it up on Tuesday. We got to go. And follow. God doesn't ask you to just change your circumstances. It isn't just about, living the soft life. And, that's good. And you can have that. But what good is it to have that soft life, the aesthetic, the external, and internally, you're like a glacier, rock hard, block up, unforgiving, bitter, holding resentment. When your identity changes, your thinking changes. When your thinking changes, your decisions change. When your decisions change, your direction changes. And when your direction changes, your destiny becomes to unfold or begins to unfold. A woman of God said, preaching, she had that pinned to her work desk, Matthew 16. Only when your direction changes, your destiny begins to unfold. Shifters, it is my prayer today that you not only think outside the box, but you forget the box. You break the rules. You take the risk. You have the audacity, and you shift what is required for your next level. If that means you have to, deal with some people, let go of some people, then that's what you're going to have to do. That's what you're going to have to do. TikTok, okay, there we go. We're done. Mafi says, said again. Okay, this is how I'm gonna end today's show. When your identity changes, your thinking changes. When your thinking changes, your decisions change. When your decisions change, your direction changes. And when your direction changes, your destiny begins to unfold. Shifters, our time has come and gone, but it's never your only opportunity to have a conversation with me. If something from today's show blessed you in any way, shape, or form, send me a message. Send me something on TikTok. Send me something on Facebook. Use the shift line and send me a message, and let's have a time. But this is your sign. Forget the box. Forget the limitation. Work on letting go of those self-limiting beliefs, and it's time to shift. Until next time, keep it locked and always loaded. And this is Heart of a Levite by yours truly. Do enjoy the rest of your day. Hold on, maybe 2 seconds. I want you to hear this. There we go. Mr. Producer, have a great day. Patience says, yes, our hearts are ready. Once again, keep it locked and always loaded. Do enjoy the rest of your day. This is Heart of a Levite.
Inside, our worship comes pure before you, Lord. Accept our sacrifice. With one voice, let our praises rise from the heart of a Levite. With one voice, let our praises rise from the heart of a Levite.